Hey everyone, it's Nico, and I've got Breath of Death 7, the beginning Reanimated here, which is releasing on PC through Steam, and this game is a remake of an older indie game. I don't know that I've played a remake of an indie game yet, but here we are. This one might just be the first. And this game originally came out in 2010 on Xbox Live Arcade, and then it was later released on Steam, which I did play a little bit of back in 2012. I think I played like 34 or 35 minutes of it, which is kind of crazy to think of how long ago that was. But here with the Reanimated version, I played all the way through it on normal mode, and I don't have a whole lot to say because this is just your run-of-the-mill RPG. Doesn't seem like they changed too much, but did polish it and make it a little bit flashier, but also introduce some other issues which are just weird to me. But before we get into like the things about this that kind of stink and I hope they patch, let's first talk about the good and the obvious, and I'll explain what this is for those of you that aren't familiar. Now, to start off, the game will have you taking on the role of Dem, who is a deceased warrior, and he can't speak, obviously, because he's a skeleton, so he basically communicates with the rest of the party by the second party member you acquire, reading his mind, which there's a lot of parody in this and humor, and I enjoyed it. The story is nothing amazing, but it was amusing, so I appreciated it for what it is. And if you've ever played any of the older Dragon Quest titles, this plays very similar to that. You'll acquire equipment, up to 4 total party members, towns where you can visit shops and buy equipment for your characters as you earn them, and you'll level up as you gain XP, and then they're turn-based battles. Now, each character has magic and also has tech abilities they can do. They can also like defend, regular attacks, and then also there's potions. So there's no items in this game in the sense where like you need a specific item to cleanse like poison or to revive. It's all kind of streamlined into one item, which is simply the potion. So a lot of this game, just in general, is really streamlined. And part of me really wants to think that this would be a good starter RPG for people that maybe are trying to break into the genre but never have. But the reality of it is there's too many difficulty spikes and necessary grinding, at least on normal or higher difficulty. So I don't think that's the case, so I'm not sure why it has so many streamlined mechanics, but also is overly frustrating and difficult towards the end of the game. But anyways, I digress. So that's the gist of the combat. It's fun. You could build up a combo meter, and then there's certain abilities which will break the combo meter. But like Dem has this one ability that you can use that does way more damage if you have a higher combo. So kind of managing the usage of the different magics and techs in the combo meter building and all that sort of stuff does make this more enjoyable from a combat perspective than your run-of-the-mill JRPG from the NES or Super Nintendo eras, at least in my opinion. The game is fairly linear. There is some room for exploration. There's also some side dungeons and things like that I did explore. And the equipment you acquire is always tied to just one specific character. So each character can equip a weapon and then a piece of armor. It took me just shy of 6 hours to finally defeat the final boss. And when you do, you will unlock some bonus content. There's also an extra dungeon that you can go back to and explore after you beat the game that is really difficult. So they added quite a bit of like little bonus content for you to tinker with, and it has a bunch of different difficulty settings. So if you want to play this on easy and have a much easier time than I did, then hey, by all means, have at it. In terms of like the enemy designs and the environments and the progression, all that sort of stuff, I enjoyed this game quite a bit for the first few hours. But like I said, that back end of the game is pretty annoying and pretty frustrating. And this game has some issues that I think they can patch and I believe are new to this Reanimated version. Now the first, just a minor thing, there's times where there's like little weird visual oddities where you'll see like a frame or two flicker when it shouldn't be. I also ran into little bugs where, you know, like bringing up the menu and picking the fight option when I'm in an area where you're about to fight a boss and you can't use that option made it so I could no longer bring up the menu till I left the screen and came back. I also had a soft lock very early in the game, and that made me lose some progress. Now, granted, I only lost like a minute or two because I manually saved pretty recently, which if you play this, I highly recommend manual saving all the time, anywhere, everywhere, to avoid losing progress, since you can get absolutely destroyed in a heartbeat if you have bad luck in a battle, and then it just kicks you to the menu when you do get a game over. But then my biggest issue with the game as a whole, and this is just a baffling design choice, and please fix this because it's obnoxious as all hell, is you have to press the button to move through every single screen of text during battles. Every time an enemy attacks or one of your characters attacks, you have to keep mashing the button to progress the dialogue and the text that comes up. Why is there not an auto scroll option where you could set different battle dialogue speeds, you know, slow, normal, fast, whatever? Or better yet, since if you want to just quickly fight with each of your characters and you can just hold the button, why not just allow us to hold the button and it quickly scrolls through all the dialogue for the battle? I don't need to see the battle play out. I know what I selected. When the enemy attacks, I don't care what they attacked me with. I can clearly see my health at the top of the screen. It made a game that is otherwise very fast-paced very slow. And I'm pretty sure like I'm having some carpal tunnel pains in my left hand and my right hand because I was switching hands, mashing the button in order to get through these battles. And you'll fight a lot. Like, that's the bulk of the game, is battles. The random battles, you're going to need to grind at points. So there's a lot of fights. That's the bulk of the content in the game, is the battles. And the battles are fun, but mashing the button to get through the dialogue into the next round is not. Please fix. I beg you, please fix. In playing this right after the very stellar Dragon Quest III HD 2D probably didn't do me any favors, but hey, I still had fun, but it has its issues. So developers, if you're watching, please fix. These are all pretty simple things. That's a pretty simple suggestion. But as a whole, it's only $5. I could recommend it, but understand its issues and its pain points. And if any of those things are deal breakers for you, just avoid it, because it doesn't do anything overly spectacular, but it is a decently fun parody game. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.